Is Diddy the black Jeffrey Epstein, or is this a whole lot of nothing? This is Inverted World Live. Welcome back, everybody. It's good to see you. Happy Memorial Day weekend. Alex, how are you?
I'm doing great.
You good?
Yeah,
Everything
I'm doing
crazy?
good.
I've been told by good sources, credible sources, that some type of poltergeist event has taken place. And I don't know anything about it. I'm like, we would be the people to tell.
I know.
But for those who tuned into Culture War on Friday with Tim, myself, Tony Merkel, shout out Tony Merkel who's been on the show, and Congressman Burleson, you heard that Tim has experienced a poltergeist. So we've been investigating.
Yeah, what's going
You
on?
guys know there's a hellmouth beneath this house.
Well, we have some ideas. I mean, there was the tombstones.
There are tombstones here.
Property.
And,
Something happened there.
Yep. Something happened there. That's vague.
Well, I don't know. Tim was like, I don't want to dox anyone.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. Something crawled out of the cemetery.
Well, yeah.
And now it's got a job here. I don't know.
It was like regular tombstones, and then they were like crushed or something.
Yeah, there's like a really there's old tombstones here.
I don't know if that's what he was talking about, or like the teeth in the attic.
I was thinking like ghost chickens, because there's lots of chickens. Some have been eaten by coyotes, and they're scary.
I mean, it could have been that time the psychic that lady came on and she was like, "There's a little boy over your shoulder."
Yeah, I forgot about her.
Then I started crying like a crazy person.
So I don't know what it is. Everyone's been asking me. I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't know. I'm looking into it.
Well,
Everyone's tight-lipped about it.
I mean, Tim should come on episode 50. And
I'm gonna have Tim be a caller. We'll just like disguise his voice.
He's like, you don't know who this is.
This is not Tim Pool. I have chickens since last time. I got chickens.
Oh,
yeah.
Did you steal them from here?
Tim has a chicken city. I have a chicken ghetto. And it's weird because every time I walk in on the chickens to like feed them and give them water, I feel like I'm interrupting them plotting something against me. Like they're weird.
Chickens
birds. They're weird.
They're crazy.
But I love them. I love them. So anything else going on? Are you good? You got any fish that are disappearing? Anything in your life?
Just the one fish that won't freaking die. And not that I wanted to, but it killed my other fish. So
it's good to be back because the last two, as you know, are pre-recorded. So we're live. You're here with us right now on this lovely Sunday night. And we're going to talk about the Diddy trial. Something a lot of us have been following for quite some time. We've had one of our guests tonight on previously talk about this and a lot of other stuff. Our two guests have been in the courtroom the past week or two. It's been crazy watching them report from the inside and the outside of the trial. A lot of stuff going on. And they're two of my favorite writers, two of my favorite people. Let's bring on Emilie Hagen and Brianna Logan. Yo, what is up?
Hey, Shane. I don't know if it's just me, but I think your mic's a little loud.
Oh really?
He's always
I have
off.
never heard that in my life because I usually whisper like quietly.
It feels like it's peaking a little bit.
Oh, no.
All right, I just lowered you a little bit. Well,
That is
Shane
the
doesn't
first
know how
I've
to
heard that.
hold his microphone.
I don't know how to
so-
use a microphone. So hopefully
That's better.
Is this better? Okay, good. Let me know if it peaks again because I do have an issue with the microphone. Sometimes people are like, his voice is too low. I'm like, that's just how I talk because I'm like a paranoid person.
I texted Brianna. She also was like, "Am I crazy or is his mic?"
Oh shoot. Okay. Is it better now?
What do you think?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Good. Well, welcome to the show, you two. You've both been reporting from the Diddy courtroom. What has it been, 2 weeks now?
Feels like 2 months.
So, do you guys think celebrities should be above the law?
No, but they are.
You don't think so? You don't think Diddy should be getting away with all this, and this is just a sham trial, a patsy?
The only person that would think a celebrity should be above the law would be a celebrity, right?
Yeah. No, I don't. I don't think that. I just, as I'm watching this, I'm like,
I guess you could argue that they gave the culture a lot that some people didn't.
yeah, all those great records. But it feels like there's people who are saying this is a sham trial, nothing going on. And there's other people saying that this is like the next Epstein, that this is some satanic ritual stuff taking place in the music industry. What perception did you have of this trial? I guess, Brianna, we can start with you beforehand. And now that you're there, has your perception of the trial changed?
I mean, my perception of the trial was largely based on two things. The first was all of Emily's research this past year that she did for Diddy Files. I mean, she reminded me of so many good points in the hip hop culture from the 90s and the 2000s. And I've kind of just been following her lead and the things that she's picking out, and just I got into this because I feel like Diddy was shoved down her throat and I want to know what we ate. And before I got into this, I was like, I mean, I think overall the charges he's faced against are difficult, but do I think he committed some type of crime? Yes. Do I know that we really are going to have evidence for these specific charges? I don't know, but I do think like the millennial culture, like we're really seeking answers for what we like took too much of through MTV and all those channels.
Right. Emilie, what about you?
I think leading up to this trial, I definitely was diving into the more satanic parts of the music industry. You know, I was researching Diddy's back tattoos and the satanic symbolism that he has inked on his body. But unfortunately, that's not what he's on trial for. Nobody cares about his tattoos. We're not talking about satanic sex orgies. We're really just talking about, so far, whether they can prove racketeering, sex trafficking, RICO. And right now, we're just really hearing about a relationship between Cassie Ventura and Sean Combs, who would hire male escorts. And so far, we're not hearing them like go, hoo, ha, hoo, ha, like do any chants. We're just hearing that Diddy's in a bandana masturbating in the corner, rubbing semen on nipples. Like we're just hearing a lot of like perversion, but
Right.
we're not really hearing anything satanic. Yeah, I mean, you could argue that is satanic. But so far, we're not hearing about Clive Davis. We're not hearing about Lucien Grange. I'm not hearing about any of those people.
Right. Yeah. People are expecting all these big salacious stories to drop. Like, you know, one is Justin Bieber and his connections. Has that come up yet at all in the courtroom?
It comes up every day. And then there's a lot of PR teams right now working to make sure that people aren't slandering Bieber, because a lot of people are assuming that he got raped by Diddy.
Right.
And he's going through it right now, I think, with all of that. I was told it never happened.
Didn't he come out saying it didn't happen?
He said it didn't happen too, yeah. But a lot of people are like, oh, he has to say that because it's so humiliating.
Right. People don't believe it.
Yeah, his team said it didn't happen, but they also could be protecting him.
Right. Yeah. I'm watching people kind of like lose interest because maybe they're not getting what they thought was going to confirm their biases about Diddy. But I still think it's like a really depraved situation. But maybe people are like applying crimes that aren't even in the courtroom, I guess. So like all this stuff that you talked about, Emilie, that we're hearing rumors of, it's not showing up. They're just focusing on racketeering. And so far in the courtroom, is that coming off as like you think he's going to actually get hit with that?
I think Brianna just wrote something about that. I think she should answer that one.
Go for it.
I think with the subpoena of his executive assistants and personal assistants, it seemed like Diddy always had 4 male assistants at a time. In either they were like huge Italian dudes or like swagged ass like brown guys. And I feel like he always had a group of dudes who were willing to like go take Cassie's phone when she was misbehaving, go steal her car if she was misbehaving. And I think there's certainly evidence that he had like people of Combs Enterprises who enjoyed their 6-figure salary were certainly down to do whatever he told them to. I mean, one assistant, George Kaplan, testified that Diddy asked him, go get me a 1 gallon of water. Kaplan was running late and he could not find 1 gallon of water. So he brought Diddy 2 half gallons, and Diddy threatened to fire him, got in his face, almost hit him.
Wow.
And so there's a lot of intimidation and like absolutely no autonomy for anyone besides Sean Combs.
Yeah. So he just sounds like a terrible boss getting away with a lot of stuff, like surrounded by yes men.
The weird part about George Kaplan's testimony, though, is like, yes, he's revealing a few things, but overall it sounded like a love letter to Diddy. While he was testifying, Diddy was leaning forward in his chair, nodding along to all these compliments that George was giving him. He was saying that Diddy made him the man he is today. Without Diddy, he never would have had a work ethic. He even said that the prosecution forced him to be there, and there's no reality he'd live in that he would ever want to be on that stand testifying against Diddy. And then last night, I was starting to think, okay, there's got to be conspiracies I haven't thought of. And there was 2 moments in George's testimony that now that I'm thinking back on it, I'm like, my spidey sensors are going off. George Kaplan made a point to mention 2 of the biggest conspiracy theories surrounding Diddy. First is Biggie. He made a point to randomly say, yeah, May 21st, we had a holiday because it was Diddy's Biggie's birthday, and Diddy loved him so much, so we always got a paid time off. And then the second thing that George Kaplan brought up was Diddy loved Kim Porter. He treated her above the rest of the girls. She was like a goddess. And I'm thinking, so those are the two rumors we're always seeing online, that Diddy offed Kim Porter and Biggie. And now this one specific witness that loves Diddy still, the one that Diddy's like nodding, you almost wonder, like, were they like, hey, can you like tell the crowd that he loves Biggie and that he loves Kim Porter? It just felt really on the nose.
Weird.
Brianna, what do you think about that? Brianna, when you hear that, like, what does that make you think? I saw your reaction.
Well, this is why I love being able to watch Emily's process, because she picks up these things that I'm like, oh my God, I was like in the bathroom or like zoned out, or like I just like, she just has these pinpoints of culture that get me excited every time. Yeah, I do think, I mean, any witness that's testifying in a criminal case is having meetings with attorneys before they get on the stand, and they are planting some seeds, and they have requests, certainly. So it does not surprise me that Diddy really was like looking for some PR every once in a while. And I think he's like grasping at straws. I mean, I think the first 2 days of him doing this and blowing kisses and waving to his mom, like, you know, in the moment you're like, aw.
I kept falling for it.
Really?
What?
You're falling for it?
I was falling for the charisma. I never, ever thought Diddy was a rapper with aura. And then during this...
We lost Emily.
Oh, there you are.
You're back. Okay, you were just saying you were falling for Diddy's aura.
The very first day, because I never thought Diddy would be a celebrity that I was like, ooh. And then the second he walked into the courtroom and did that heart thing, I was like, oh, I see why people say that he has Riz.
And the gray hair, right? He's got gray hair now, so does he look more sympathetic to the courthrooom?
Didn't matter. Did not matter. He still had an energy about him. He still has this this confidence about him. Thinks he's invincible. There's definitely this dark, powerful energy that he encompasses that I'm certainly attracted to, because I'm very attracted to these dark forces, because I want to find out more.
Yeah. You got to check yourself.
I met Kanye and Diddy. Diddy's presence is much more powerful than Kanye's.
Interesting. Wow. Well, Kanye has said multiple times he looks up to Diddy big time. You know, they're friends, despite whatever he's said in the past, but now he's on his side, which, you know, I don't really feel
he says he's his idol, his twin, his mentor. Right. But at first it was a fad. And then you have to wonder, that's still another big part of this. He could be
a fed. I've always thought he was a Fed, and when Kanye first said that years ago, I thought that makes sense. And that doesn't mean he's like a federal agent. It means he's like been bought off. He's been working for the feds. Maybe he is a Fed. I don't know, like a actual agent. But I think that's very possible. You know, they run these. If it is like a blackmail operation, if there's something like that going on, that is something the governments like to do. All of the governments. So it's possible. You were talking about the George, was it Kaplan as a witness? Mm-hmm. Who was he in relation? Just like a worker, an employee, an assistant. Who was the bodyguard?
He's like a personal liaison.
Who was the bodyguard?
D-Rock and Rue. They've been mentioned by a lot, but they haven't been there yet. I'm hoping they've been subpoenaed. But that's the thing about this case is, first of all, we've gone from ending at 5 o'clock to ending at 3 o'clock. So that's really cutting our time inside the courtroom. And the witness list, like, it's unguessable. We've heard rumors of Albie Shore. We've heard rumors, like, we saw an ABC notebook that said Chris Brown and Fat Joe. And we're like, are these people coming? Are we just like hallucinating these things? Like, or is this wishful thinking? Like, I like, my Pokemon card that I want to see is like a holographic Kimora Lee Simmons. Like, I don't know. I just feel like that woman knows every single story, but I don't think she'll be there.
Right.
There's a lot left to be desired from the rumors that we've heard versus the reality.
And what about the I forget what he was. I thought maybe not a bodyguard, but like somebody, maybe an escort that was arrested a while back for shooting in a hotel at one point.
That is honestly, I just watched that clip before I got here again, and everything he said in that video is exactly what the male escorts are saying on the stand. Like, he's literally saying, I had to have sex with Diddy or with Cassie Ventura because Diddy's operating. I think he said the Black Boule. He got into the Black Boule, and I did a podcast with Red Pill Alice in October about the Black Boule and the Black Excellence. And you can look it up. It's like, it's public info. It's not a conspiracy, but that sex slave is literally describing the freak offs exactly as we're hearing the other male escorts describe the freak offs. So that's pretty freaky.
His story is crazy. I mean, he's saying like he was arrested for shooting up a Trump Tower or something.
This whole thing feels like a fad.
It's really bizarre story.
Like, why would he? That storyline, that pipeline's weird.
It's weird, but that's years old. It's there's a lot of old pieces coming together for this trial that doesn't make sense, or it is. It does make sense. I don't know.
So far, we're not hearing that the freak-offs happened at any of his famous white parties in the Hamptons. All we're hearing is that these freak-offs happened in his LA, New York, Miami residences and at hotels, and it was only between him and his girlfriends, and then these male escorts. We're not hearing that like Ashton Kutcher was in the corner too. Like people are acting as if this was like Diddy's secret world with his partner. They're kind of making it more like it was his kink, his choreographed fetish that he did at night that no one knew about. Right. That's kind of how they're painting it.
Right. Yeah, it's weird. And like the Kanye was saying stuff. I'm curious what you guys think about that, about him saying Cassie was, like an accomplice to the freak offs. And doesn't what we're seeing kind of make that?
Kanye said exactly what the defense is saying, because Kanye called Diddy on the phone in prison and Diddy told him what to say. So Kanye didn't even have that opinion until he had that call with Diddy, and then he put North on that track.
Oh, yeah.
But Kanye seems like, Kanye was right. Kanye wasn't right. Kanye got that information directly from Diddy himself. And then I get to court and they're saying the exact same thing that Kanye said. So I'm like, okay, well, that makes sense, because that's in line with what the defense's argument is that Cassie was organizing the orgies. That's what she was orchestrating. She was the one booking the escorts. She admitted it on the stand.
Right.
So everything that Kanye said is exactly what all of Diddy's defense attorneys are saying too. They're painting Cassie as an accomplice and kind of like painting her as the real villain in the story, that she played Kid Cudi and Diddy and made all these male escorts fall in love with her.
So they're making her out to be like a Ghislaine Maxwell.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Like way hotter Ghislaine Maxwell. No one thought Ghislaine was hot. Everyone knows Cassie's like the sexiest woman.
But that could just go back to the intimidation, right? She was intimidated. She had to do these things or else.
Or else she get her ass beat.
But
We've seen it on camera. So there's like no wondering why she would go along with him for 10 years.
That's true. He's on trial for sex trafficking. Is that like explicitly what they're saying?
One of them, yeah.
And so far, it's only him. It's about a bad relationship or a weird abusive relationship that you've seen.
Yeah, like can they get to the point?
Well, they're showing that Cassie was booking these male escorts through like different services, and once they would get to their hotel, they would like greet them in a masquerade mask, very eyes wide shut, and then the male escort thought they were just going to do like a dance, like they were
like a bachelorette party.
Yeah,
like we had a full room of people, and then it was just two of them.
And then Diddy would be like, "Well, can you do this?" And then they would. The next thing you know, this escort would be having sex with Cassie with a bunch of baby oil on. They'd spend all this time because Diddy liked them shining, and liked them glistening, and then they would hand them like $4,000, and the escorts liked the money, and they kept coming back. So is that? I know trafficking is a very limited definition,
but it's also
by force or coercion is what his is. So if people find that
that.
Do you guys both agree on that? So far, you haven't seen coercion?
I think handing someone a stack of money is coercion.
Even if you see text?
Escorts were saying that they enjoyed having sex with Cassie.
Yeah.
So they
would text personally all the time. Like,
and then they would get upset if Cassie didn't text back. And then they started one even fell in love with Diddy and Cassie.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you could say, they could say, oh, it's Stockholm syndrome and, stuff like that.
Yeah, that's what they're saying.
Are they saying that? Yeah. Because you could see, it is a limited definition, but it's also broad. Because it's.
And I thought it was like traveling across state lines. Like you're not supposed to fly hookers across state lines.
Right. Well, yeah. Everyone knows that.
Emilie was the one that was booking them. I'm like, that's where Diddy was kind of smart, because he had her do all of the bookings. He didn't have his finger, just like the Kid Cudi. His DNA was not on that car. It was a female DNA.
Oh, is that what we know now?
Yeah, we know that. That was brought to our attention in court.
That was objected with strike to move. So technically it won't be counted in a testimony, but we heard it like as overflow, like we heard it as the reporters in the room.
Interesting. So what was that whole story? Because for years we've heard that Diddy blew up Kid Cudi's car.
Emilie, you tell the story.
Yeah, we did hear that. And the other day, Cuddy said that he had been dating Cassie for a year. He had no idea she was still with Diddy. I guess she was still kind of with Diddy at the time. He found out that they were together, and then he first broke into her house or his house. But let's just skip to the car part. It was, I think, 2012. Cuddy gets a call from his dog sitter who says, your car has been set on fire. Cuddy's like, what the fuck? And then, prosecutors literally said, how did you feel when you found out your car was set on fire? And Cuddy goes, what the fuck? Like, he was trying to be funny. Everyone laughed. And then his friend sent him pictures, and someone had torched his car with a Molotov cocktail. Wow. So Porsche was completely like total, like it couldn't have been repaired. The damage, the top was ripped, the red interior had ashes everywhere. And then the next day he was like, I need to go talk to Diddy. So he had his manager Dennis arrange a meeting with D-Rock, Diddy's right hand, and they went to Soho House, and he described walking in, Diddy staring out the glass windows with his hands behind his back like a Marvel super villain. Another big laugh from the courtroom. Mm-hmm. And then he said that Diddy was just very, very calm, and they just talked, and Diddy was unaware that Cuddy and Cassie had been seeing each other. And then they went to shake hands, and then as they were mid-grasp, Cuddy said, all right, cool, but what we gonna do about my car? And then Diddy said, I don't know what you're talking about. And that's how they ended it. And to this day, Diddy denies involvement with the car bombing, but Cuddy believes it was Diddy.
Interesting. That was interesting to see Cuddy testify. I didn't expect him to testify at all.
Either.
I'm pretty surprised.
Because Cassie named him in her lawsuit. Cassie, in her lawsuit against Diddy that was settled, she talked about the car bombing. She, in her testimony too, Cassie said that Diddy was so enraged by the relationship that he said he wanted to set Cuddy's car on fire. So that's what led to Cuddy being on the stand.
Well, also the fact that Cassie's parents wired Diddy $20,000 because Diddy threatened to release 2 sex tapes and assault both Cuddy and Cassie if he wasn't reimbursed $20,000 for the money Diddy spent on Cassie. Wow. So Cassie's parents took a loan against their home and emailed with Diddy's bookkeeper to wire him the money. 5 days later, Diddy wired it back, didn't want that money trail, and then this was all like staggering incidents for like a few weeks of like him threatening the car, getting blown up, the this and that, the Soho. Yeah. It was all in like 1 month.
He was gonna make public sex tapes between Diddy and Cassie, or Cuddy and Cassie?
Diddy and Cassie, like freak off.
Oh my!
He was gonna release the tapes that he had been filming at the freak offs.
Jeez, do you think have the tapes come up in the trial? Like, is that evidence that the jury's gonna have to see?
I think the jury saw some stuff a few weeks ago, or a few, so it's been 2 weeks. It feels like it's been a year. There is some stuff like that it's typical, and like for Harvey Weinstein, when they showed different evidence of his private parts, that only the jury sees it or the attorneys. Mm-hmm. It's not on the screens for everyone to see. It won't be up high, and it won't be shown to media. There's certainly some credentialed media who feel like they should be able to have rights to that. I'm sure TMZ is gonna do blood, sweat, and tears to get
TMZ gets everything.
Yeah. So it'll just be interesting to see who fights for that footage and who's like, it's okay, I can imagine it. Like, no need to humiliate anyone anymore.
Yeah, for real. Brianna, I believe you reported from courtrooms before. With this court case, are you seeing any like discrepancy between the corporate press and independent press and how they're reporting? Like, are they being more salacious for clicks? Or are they misreporting things?
I don't think mainstream is being salacious. I certainly see influencers being incredibly creative and successful in that endeavor. But more than anything, I'm seeing the bridge between traditional and influencers be bridged a lot more. I think people are being much more kind than they were, when I covered Ghislaine in 2021. Like, if mainstream could spit on me, they would have. Right. And now it's a lot more friendly. That's not like, you budged me in line to be an Instagram influencer. Now people are kind of like, all right, good, respect for you. You woke up early. And so I am appreciating that.
That's good. Yeah, the culture of I'd love to hear you guys both speak about the culture outside the courtroom. I was very surprised about line holders. I didn't know that was a thing for courtrooms. So you have had to deal with line holders. Can you tell us about what that is, why that's happening, if that's still happening, how much it is, all that good stuff.
That Brianna and I met for the first time in real life. And Brianna was sitting next to a line.
2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, we met for the first time.
Which is weird because we've all known each other for like a little bit now, but
We've been
you've
phone
never
friends,
met.
Digital, virtual friends. 5 minutes after meeting Brianna was sobbing because she brought a sign that said, Brianna, why don't you say what your sign said?
It said reserve Brianna Logan Substack. And then I wrote like, it is not fair for people to have to compete with the budget of big media to get a seat in the United States Court of Law. Like, I'm not competing with the New York Times. It's fucking budget motherfuckers. And then they were like, nice sign. No way.
All these line setters were like, who is this dumb girl? Get her out of here. And they were just
so entitled.
And then Brianna's bawling her eyes out. Then I'm like, well, do you want me to film this? I can should I be exploiting
this
you
is
for
content.
I started filming. I filmed her crying, and then we sat and we decided, well, fuck it, we're just gonna sleep in the line. I guess this is our life. But then there's one guy that gets kind of like crazy after dark. He kind of becomes a werewolf, and he gets a little bit nuts. They told us he was gonna stab us, so they told us to leave. So at 1 a.m. we left, and then the next day, this guy held our spot, and we were both able to get into the official courtroom on day one of opening statements.
Incredible.
Since then, they have been using this company called Line Dudes. It's $32 an hour, and anyone can use them to secure a spot on the line.
I would like to say 2 things to this. First of all, when I covered Ghislaine, once in a while, someone would get a line sitter if they needed a nap to sleep in late. Mm-hmm. It wasn't like this, like rampant here. Second of all, it was like $15 less a few years ago. They've upped their prices. And I know I said I'm making it 2 points. I'm actually going to make 3 points.
They're also trying to be main characters.
Yeah. They're all trying to be main characters. And I asked them, I go, where else have you slept for? They do line stuff for restaurant reservations, for Ticketmaster. For Hamilton, I go, have you ever been to these restaurants? No. Have you been to any of the plays you sit outside for? No. These people just sleep during the day and they're up at night. It's like basically exploiting homeless people or like people who are not employable. Wow.
But I don't mind that because those people need jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really, but like then they like tell you
Brianna's so against the homeless. I'm all for the
No, I'm not against the homeless. I'm against exploiting them because it's like there are people that are just, it's like
this is an opportunity, I feel like, for them.
You're getting paid $60 by the New York Times to do something that one of their interns doesn't want to do. The New York Times could mentor you out of your shitty situation.
They're not going to do that.
I would rather the Times pay the homeless to write the articles and sit on the line than pay the journalists they have now. I'd be more interested in what the homeless have to say. Seriously, I bet it will be better. I know it will be better.
Honestly, I'm having a lot more fun outside the courtroom. Did you see that one video of that homeless guy that got arrested? He was saying, where the fuck is Meek Mill? Where the fuck is Jay-Z? And I'm like, he was Kanye on the same Pablo tour. He was about to be like, Jay-Z, call me, bro. Like, that was the energy. And
Emily, that guy said he was also Jesus.
He also said something interesting, though. What first caught my attention is he said the reason Diddy beat the shit out of Cassie in the hallway is because there was cocaine in that bag, that duffel bag, and that Cassie was stealing the drugs because that's come up in the courtroom.
Okay, that's no excuse. That's still like no excuse.
So this guy in the street was screaming that anytime your bitch steals your coke, you gotta kick that bitch because I'm going to prison. And it was like so insane. And then everyone's like, why are you talking to him? And then he ended up getting arrested for insanity. They put him in a 5150 hold.
Oh, I thought that guy was one of the only people speaking truth out there, except for that, beating her up part. I was like, this guy's interesting.
Said that he had to really make her know, like, you can't be carrying. I don't even know if that's true, though. Like, this guy doesn't have inside info. He doesn't know if there was cocaine in that duffel bag.
Crazy people in New York shout things that are kind of true. Like yesterday, a crazy person was like, bitch, your ends are dry. You need hair oil and a trim. And I was like, I do. Like, I fucking
Thank you.
do.
Yes. Thank you for calling it out. Yeah, I think the homeless people, especially schizophrenic homeless people, are tapped into a higher reality.
I agree.
And can see it. They just can't translate it that well to us because it's so much happening. Like, I've had a few schizophrenic friends. One in particular who was extreme, like not on meds, and he would he would just break out of his facility, and I would just talk to him on the streets. I'm like, this guy's a poet and a prophet, and
they are. They're really artistic too.
He totally understood the world, and reality and relationships, power, politics in a way that I'm still thinking about, and that was like 15 years ago. Like he knew a lot of stuff, and you know, maybe I it might be contagious. Like I might have a little bit of it now, but I think they're tapped into it. So all right,
Everyone keeps saying like, why is Emily always going live with mentally ill people? And I was like, because I am mentally ill. Duh.
yeah.
No,
look,
'cause you're in New
look at
York.
us. What are you trying to say?
Someone was
we're all
like,
mentally
why
ill.
are you giving these people airtime? And I was like, why should I only be giving like mediocre people airtime?
Well, I
feel
think
like these people are I like people that are very like at the top and very at the bottom. The middle is boring.
I'm with you. That's why I love seeing you guys being outside the courtroom and sharing what's going on out there, because that is to me as important.
That's the culture to
Right.
me.
Right. And honestly, and not like in a weird way, it reminds me of the weirdness of something like when Ted Bundy was executed, people lined up outside the prison and like barbecued and sold merchandise. There's something very strange in humanity that like becomes a parasite to a situation, right? Like just random people and sick people, passersby, they just want to be a part of it in some way, celebrate it, grieve it. You know, they have something to say, and then the media throughout it. It says a lot about society.
Even that entertainment reporter, that guy was like yelling at her.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Like,
I
that
did see
guy
that.
got
Yeah.
arrested was like yelling at the Entertainment Tonight reporter. And like people were like, he's so mean to women. But I just asked him, hey, do you think Diddy's a bad? And he answered my question fine. Like I feel like your energy and how you treat these people is what they give back to you. And a lot of the mainstream news anchors are so scared of the line sitters, and they won't even go near them. And I'm like, you guys are missing out on. And that's why they missed out on the big protester expose. I got the story because these people were too afraid to go talk to the weird homeless people that showed up in wrinkly Gildan t-shirts.
Oh yeah.
Because these news anchors are so scared of these like whack jobs, they're missing out, I think, on a little bit of opportunity to explore what like this weird shift is happening outside.
Yeah. I mean, as difficult as it is to be independent, like, and you guys are truly independent writers, you got your Substacks, it offers you this ability to like kind of swerve around the situation. Those people are in a silo where you name the brand, they're there, they have to say a specific type of story. And it can't really deviate too much.
They can't deviate at all.
Right. But the deviations are what make the stories important and more relatable, because that's what everyone's witnessing in the world, all the things in the periphery, you know?
That's why I'm like, without the chaos outside and like the whispers in the elevators, everyone will just have the same story.
Right, right. So then, okay, in terms of like perception of this case, lots of people are coming to this case with perception, like I was starting to show off with. Some people think it's one thing, other people think it's another. Brianna, you guys were there for jury selection, right?
Emily was. I wasn't.
Okay. Well, then you've been in the room. Like, do you think it's even possible for a jury to come in here and not be subjective after everything we've heard?
Diddy? Probably not. Everyone has an opinion on him, and he likes it that way. He's built it that way. He on the Ellen show umpteenth times because he wants to be the most unavoidable person on earth, and he is. I'm sure it would be. You'd have to get a completely new generation of human beings all together to have a jury of people who don't know who Diddy is.
But did you see the people on the jury?
I haven't, no.
Some of them look like they don't know who P. Diddy is.
Sure, some of them, but there's no way all of them don't know.
Maybe
I think not all of them. Some of them definitely know.
Changing his name helps, because like we knew him. I knew it was Puffy and Puff Daddy, but Diddy Puff
Daddy's the era that that's our era.
We're the Puff Daddy era.
But it's funny. Yesterday, I was I went to like this vintage shop, and I was like, "Do you have any Puff Daddy shirts or like Biggie shirts and like Bad Boy?" I want like a Bad Boy Entertainment logo shirt. Nice. And he was like, "No, like not with me in my other place." He's like, "I'll message you." He's like, "But they're gonna be real expensive right now." And I was like, "I'm sure you're gonna do that, and I bet you will." And like the other night, Emily and I were like singing in the back of a car, and we're like, "Should we post a song of us singing to Diddy? Like, is that bad?" And I'm like, his streams are probably through the roof right now. Yeah. Of everyone trying to put things together and like figure out why they care, and like it's like the reason like John Benet Ramsey shit does well. People just like can't get enough of it. It's like 9/11 all over again. But,
people are listening to Diddy more now than they ever were.
Yeah. He needed this. This is great for his career. That's why he's doing heart symbols. You know, I don't think he seems like someone who's that worried, honestly.
He doesn't act worried at all. He was nervous the first day, and that was it. After that, jury selection, he was worried. I think someone was like, "You got to stop acting like that," because now he's acting cocky. And so is the defense team. Like, it literally feels like we are at another Wild King Combs party in the Hamptons, but now it's just in the courtroom. Like, he's got so many defense attorneys that are so charismatic. They are just like stretchy and they're schmoozing us in the audience. It's like a spectacle. And then the prosecution is like, hi, so I'm the native. Like, the prosecutors are a bunch of dorks.
Right.
Emily's, Emeritus. A lot of the people at the trial have been saying, like, I would have been a better white person on that 6-pack of white women. That's the prosecution, because these girls are somehow so much whiter than me and Brianna.
How?
It's like the whitest girls you could imagine are the prosecutors. So they're not picking up on any nuance. They're not picking up on any cultural reference. They're very like sheltered dorks, I would say.
How is Comey involved? Is she on the prosecution?
Okay, I'm her biggest fan of all time. So Emily and I disagree on the the answer to the previous question.
Oh yeah,
weird,
wait. Let's hear Brianna's take, and then we'll go into Comey. Yeah.
There is one male defense attorney who's not strong. He's the only black male on the defense team. The other day, he was doing a bad job. He gets so nervous that he walks away from the microphone, and people on the stand, like witnesses, he's cross-examining. They're like, I can't even hear you, dude. Like, pull on your balls. And like the other day, Diddy was like going like this to his hand, like getting all like nervous with his chair. Like, that one attorney is not great at his job, and Diddy knows it. And if you're allegedly paying $10 million for your freedom, like, probably every penny. Maureen Comey, to me, I watched her during Ghislaine. I'm watching her right now. Do I think she ever watched an episode of TRL in her life? No. Can she like name Carson Daly if he was on fire? Probably not. I don't think she knows that like Whitney Houston died during a Grammys weekend. I don't think she knows that. I don't think she knows a lot about pop culture. But I also think that if we got into the pop culture, we would lose track of so much, and then there'd be objections, like relevancy, objection, grounds, and we would just never get through any day.
But she knows a lot about corruption and FBI and her crazy
Nobody
father.
trusts Comey.
Yeah. I don't trust her at all. And she's been involved in a lot of weird stuff, like Tartaglione, who's someone from my neck of the woods, who's that cop in the Jeffrey Epstein jail cell.
What does Maureen Comey have to do with Tartaglione?
I think she was overseeing that. I think she was part of that trial. Pretty sure she had.
Right.
There is something. Yeah.
With who was Epstein's cellmate? Yeah.
Tartaglione was in, because I worked in the town where he did the kidnapping.
Do you believe that he's innocent?
He has a really shady history. Like,
I don't believe he's innocent.
When he was a cop,
didn't they?
Was that?
Didn't they literally find 3 bodies in his yard?
In his, I think his brother's pig farm north of Chester, New York, where he kidnapped the 4 guys, allegedly is where he buried. He executed them, execution style, and then dumped their bodies in the grave. They say, but he was a cop who was pretty shady, beat up some people, like really weird stories, and then he became a drug dealer, and then the drug deal went bad in Chester, New York, at this weird discotheque, and it was like 4 Mexican dudes, 3 of them or 2 of them maybe were part of the drug deal that went wrong. He kidnapped them allegedly, and then took them, killed them, and then went to jail eventually. So yeah, I know there's like claims that he's innocent. I don't know. Anything is possible. Anything's possible. But when I was writing that story, like when it happened like 10 years ago, I was under the impression this dude is super dirty and super crooked. And I always thought he was weird. One of the weirder things of that story is that his...
You're right a lot.
What? I am right a lot. Thank you.
You have really good intuition about people.
Typically. And when this guy his accomplice was pulled over, he was being approached by the cops. His accomplice killed himself right there in his car. Like, it was bizarre. And his accomplice was also an ex-cop. And these guys are all bodybuilders. It's a very strange story. But yeah, that's the guy. Tartaglione was put in prison. Not to get we'll get back to Diddy in a second. He was put in prison in D.C. He was Jeffrey Epstein's cellmate. And then at some point, someone somehow gave Tartaglione a cell phone.
Right.
In the jail cell. After the cell phone showed up, Epstein was beat up. Now, Tartaglione is now saying he did not do the beating. But that was the story, right? And because of whatever happened, that's when Epstein was moved into the cell where he allegedly killed himself. I don't believe, that part. I think they switched him out and some other body was put in there.
So we don't like Maureen Comey. We think she did all these.
That is all that is just to say that's a crazy story and she's attached to it. But there's so much corruption within the FBI, especially in New York, for years. And like we've seen people get fired recently who are covering things up. In the head of the New York FBI field office was super shady, very partisan, like a weird, like a cultist who should not have been in power. But that's like the Comey circle. And then her dad is just a super shady FBI guy. Like I don't really care about the 8647 thing. I think if you can say whatever you want, honestly. I like knowing how people talk and I like knowing exactly what they think. So that doesn't bother me. What bothers me is the corruption. And I don't think the apple falls very far from the tree. Like the Comeys are just a psychotic bunch of people. And most people in FBI are. I know there are some good people in FBI. I just don't think they can be trusted. Like, look, that prison where Epstein was, what are the odds that the cops fell asleep when he took his life? What are the odds that the camera went out? None of that stuff. How did he get a cell phone? None of that stuff makes any sense. And I was going to say Diddy was at that same prison, but he wasn't because I believe they shut that prison down because of corruption after Epstein.
I thought Diddy is at that prison. I think that prison's pretty active.
I've seen different things. I've looked up that it's been closed to be reviewed because of corruption. I've also seen that he was in that prison. So I don't know. I guess it depends what reality we're in.
I'll have to go up to the guard door tomorrow and
go in there.
And you open?
Yeah. Can I sleep here? All right. So then back to Diddy. We're talking about jury, Comey's involvement, the prosecution. Like, where do you think this is leading to? Like, do you think the prosecution's doing a better job, even though the defense is coming off more enthusiastic?
I feel like if we're going to talk about corruption, we have to bring up the other conspiracy I came up with the other day, and it's why the hell did the feds not raid Diddy's property at One Star Island?
Talk about that. That's crazy.
It was very strange. We have a Homeland Security officer on the stand named Agent Gannon. He's testifying, prosecutors asking him questions, having him walk the jury through the raid. So he said it took about 80 to 90 officers. They used like an armored vehicle to break through Diddy's like gate outside of the Miami home. And they're like, now describe the items seized. And they're like, oh, we seized 7-inch high heels, lingerie, Astroglide lubricant, some AR-15s with scratched off serial numbers, which he's not on trial for.
Right.
But then out of nowhere, she goes, and now, Mr. Gannon, Agent Gannon, can you please describe the property neighboring 2 Star Island? And he goes, that's 1 Star Island. And she's like, and did you also raid 1 Star Island? And he's like, no, we did not. And then they just moved on. And everyone looked at each other like, wait, why? If it was still owned by Diddy at the time, it's still his property. So why, if your unit was told that you had human trafficking allegations, why would you only raid the LA property and 1 of 2 properties on Star Island? To me, that's a little bit weird. And then I remembered that King Combs released that song last May 2024, 2 months after the raid, where he said that the feds raided the wrong home.
What the hell? What is that?
So King Combs is in court, and like, is that going to be evidence? But it's like, it just seems. What if like all the freak off tapes of the celebrities were in 1 Star Island?
Right.
Like,
yeah. What is that? Like, how do they
why didn't nobody ask the guy, why didn't you raid 1 Star Island?
Whose name is that property under? Like, when you told me that, I was like, you think the property's in his kid's name so that if anything happens, they can still have a property?
I think it says it's owned by Sean Combs. He bought it from Gloria Estefan, I believe.
Wow. So wait. So his son is saying that the feds didn't do the right job?
Like the feds, you have to. It's a song called "Pick a Side" if you want to pull it up, and he basically says that they raided the wrong property. Like they should have raided the one next door, is what the lyrics say.
Is his son at the trial right now in support of his dad?
Yes, he looks just like Diddy. It's
like
King.
Diddy.
So
it's the one Kanye was friends with, the one that was at the Bianca party. It's King. Yep.
That doesn't make any sense at all.
So the son made the song, and like in the hallways, the kids are like dancing and laughing at breaks. Like they're not phased.
That is weird. weird.
That just gets fed. A lot of people are like, yeah, it's because he's a fed.
Right. Yeah, like if they only chose to do one property, there's another one right
Like
there.
if you're only going to raid one property in Miami when he clearly owned 2 properties, then it's feeling to me like a big spectacle and a distraction.
That was the defense asked that question?
No, the prosecutor.
Okay, so that's even weirder.
Made it even weirder.
So the prosecutor asked that question, and then they could have followed up being like, why did you have...
They just moved on.
Like you should have followed up and been like, why did you have a warrant for just that place? Like how did you determine that's the place when he also got this place? They're right there next to each other?
Yeah, they're neighboring properties.
That's really weird.
And the kid's saying in the song, like, if I was the prosecution, I would bring up the song as evidence. And I don't know if you're allowed to bring up lyrics as evidence, but I know a lot of rappers have gotten in trouble for lyrics.
They're trying to undo that. Jay-Z actually has been spearheading that idea.
Try to get rid of that.
Yeah, because I don't think you should. I honestly don't know if that's, you can
use
lyrics. Like a lot of people write things, they exaggerate. You can't hold everyone to account on lyrics. It doesn't make any sense.
They are bringing Gannon back to the stand this week. So my hope is that someone is going to ask why you didn't raid.
Yeah.
This song is insane, but like police raid the crib like we selling crack. We ain't doing that, but we out here selling tracks, multi-million-dollar plaques. Rather put this shit on wax. All that gossip shit is whack.
Nice.
Wait, go down. It's the second verse.
Okay.
Emily's got it memorized.
Oh Lord, but every other word is N-word. I can't say that.
Well, say them all. Let's go.
Nope. Knock them walls down like when them Fetty boys ran in both of our cribs. Too bad they ain't know we bought the one next door because that's the one they missed.
That's the lyric. Because the feds knocked down the gate of the Two-Star Island, but they didn't do this one next door. That's the one they missed.
That's fun. It's too late now. Like, you can't go.
And then there was a rumor, like yesterday, someone tagged me in a video and they were like, thanks to Emily knows everything's reporting, the feds are raiding One-Star Island right now. That was someone just made a fake video in Miami and pretended that was real. I'm like, what is happening?
Whoa. That's crazy.
It is really crazy this last few weeks, but also the last few months in general. I think to see people with conspiracy theories and you learn wow, some of this stuff online is not real. Like the idea that they played a recording of Prince in the courtroom.
I was just going to ask you about that. I saw the post about the ghost of Prince wasn't in the courtroom, right? Like what's that about?
It's not uncommon to get annoying DMs, but it was a few text messages, a few DMs of people being like, did they really play the ghost of Prince, like a tape of Prince talking about Diddy parties? And first of all, they wouldn't use a tape player. It would be an audio file, and they would go into Microsoft what the fuck are you talking about? And also that didn't
QuickTime player.
What?
Yeah, they would use QuickTime players.
They would use QuickTime player. What do you mean a tape player? That's first of all. Second of all, that didn't happen, and it's not one person asked, and it's not only I got asked. Emily also got asked by multiple.
No, today it was worse with the Blake that someone said, is this true? It has 7 million views, and it said Blake Lively caught on tape murdering autistic child in Diddy freak off tape. And literally guys are arguing with me in my DMs, and it's Maha women that are posting this. And I was like, this makes me want to drown myself in red dyes and go kill myself in the Mississippi River because
why red dye?
Society is so dumb.
Yeah, red dye because it's Maha women.
It's making me now think I can't even trust the Maha people. Well, I'm like, you're that gullible that you think Blake Lively was caught on camera murdering an autistic child, and they're trying to get that autism narrative in there. I mean, and then you don't think my big mouth is going to come out of the courtroom and make an Instagram video about that? You think I'm going to just sit on that?
I do believe it's possible.
You're well, the news never tells the truth, and it's Harvey Levin wants that to be true so he can make money.
Yeah, it is interesting. I guess it kind of goes back to the question I was asking Brianna about the discrepancy between the corporate press and independent media these days, is that the people are now so distrusting of the corporate press, and rightfully so.
Yeah, Trump kind of fucked it all up.
And it might have been on purpose. That's my conspiracy theory, is to discredit the news to then totally dissolve reality. And now you can buy into anything, which then makes you susceptible. But then it makes you susceptible to anything. I noticed it with Trump. A lot of before I was even a fan of Trump, I would find myself defending him because I knew people were telling me things that were completely made up. Kind of like the things you're saying about Blake Lively, even though I think she might eat people like Chrissy Teigen. But I'd have to defend Trump and be like, that never happened. And then I realized the news has created caricatures of the people you hate. And once you hate the caricature, they can convince you to then believe anything about those people.
Exactly.
So that's what's
now
going
everyone
on.
hates Blake Lively, so she was
Easy.
the easiest person.
Right.
And in the comments, everyone said, "Oh, I bet Chrissy Teigen was right there with her."
Well, really? She probably was, but we don't know yet. We don't know. But like, why? Where are these stories coming from? Are you seeing like
these are coming from random people that aren't at the court that are just on TikTok with faceless accounts.
Interesting.
Posting with ugly fonts and then putting that creepy music behind it.
Yeah.
And then it gets millions of views. And then people like Brianna and I have to combat the morons.
Yeah. It's really frustrating. And I get it's part of a machine and every man for themselves. But like when there's people who aren't even in the courtroom that get shit out before we even step out of the building, it is like, okay, like whatever you want, but it gets so frustrating.
Are they getting stuff out that they think actually happened, or are they pumping out false stuff for clicks?
A little bit of both.
Yeah.
A little bit of both. They're able to get super extra sensational because they're not really attached to it. They're just seeing the outcome of being really successful in their content. And they don't have to worry about the integrity of having to look people in the fucking eye.
That's why I have more integrity because of this trial, because I have to show up to court every day and sit next to ABC and look them in the eyes and say good morning. And I don't want them to be like, oh, that's that weirdo that was talking shit on our Instagram. Like, so now I've been very careful with my reporting just because, like you said, these people don't leave their bedrooms, so they can just write whatever they want.
You're better than me. When I was in the courtroom with Carrie Lake out in Phoenix when it was the election ballot trial, and after like day 2, ABC actually was in the room with us, and I was watching. This is why I asked Brianna the question in the first place. I was watching them say things that were totally not happening in the courtroom. Like we were in the same room for the same amount of time. He would leave and do his talking head thing with the microphone, and he's saying stuff that just wasn't. He was just fabricating things. They might have been sending him things to say. I don't know what it was, but it was like he was from a different reality, and I was not nice. Like I started a chant outside against him. I was so upset.
You don't like that. You don't like when the people get the facts wrong either, do you?
No, it's terrible.
But the worst part about these people is that they're hiding behind truth seeker accounts.
Yeah.
But they're pushing out lies.
I think it's a mixture.
And the problem is that we want to believe that Chrissy Teigen's eating babies because that's more exciting than thinking that she's just a bitch.
Right. And I think it's both. But
people believe. People.
I think it's both. But we know.
People just believe what they want to believe. So then they follow whatever news channel will just speak their own confirmation bias. I truly don't believe many people tuning into this trial are actually interested in the facts. They already have made up their mind about the outcome and they don't care. They already are like, nope, he killed Tupac, he killed Biggie, he killed Kim Porter.
Yeah.
Fuck Diddy, or they're like, free Diddy. Like they've already made up their mind.
Yeah. Are you guys getting a lot of feedback like that from people saying like, you're not giving us what we thought we would be hearing, or you're getting it wrong even though they weren't there?
I had literally someone the other day be like, I don't want to follow you because I don't want to hear any more Diddy. And I was like at my friend's like art gallery, like downtown, and someone walked in, we're just shooting the shit. She's like this young black girl, and she was like, I love what you're doing, like thank you, but like I don't want to follow you because if I hear one more Diddy thing, I'm gonna shut my phone off. And I was like, sick.
And was she coming at it from like, I don't care about Diddy because I think he's innocent, or I think he's guilty, or just not at all, don't care?
She doesn't want to keep hearing like the news in general is so much and overwhelmingly depressing or overwhelmingly just period for her. She's like a Gen Zer, and she's like, I just don't want to hear anymore. And then, Emilie's DMs are completely different, where like they're like, please, more,
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, people want more, and I wish there was 5 of me.
What was the energy like with the kids and being in the room? Nothing.
Weird. Like, wow, the kids are just looking. It's like they're treating it like the Met Gala. They like look stylish every day. They have their 15-second walk off leaving the courtroom, and they have a black SUV van that pulls up, and there's a camera crew inside the van, and they're obviously making a documentary or something. And then they use that 15 seconds to strut to the car every day and get their shot. The paparazzi gets their shot, and then a few times I noticed. It was weird because they kept playing that Cassie assault video, and I was watching how the kids were reacting, and the kids were just like this. They were just watching the TV unfazed. I mean, they've seen
Wow.
that video probably a million times, but they weren't like shaking their head or anything. They were just staring at the TV and they're just blank faces.
Wow. That's disturbing.
But then in the hallway, they were like dancing. Quincy was singing. He was going like this the other day. Like Quincy always looks really sharp. I mean, Diddy's not his real father, but he did raise him. Albie Shore's his father. And, you know, a lot of people think Albie's going to testify. That's not certain either.
What about, oh, sorry, Brianna, what were you going to say?
Quincy's like a beautiful. And then the one that King like has very off-putting vibes. I mean, he's already lost his mom. Now he's like watching his dad maybe fall, maybe not. I mean,
right.
Can't imagine what that kid has running.
I feel bad for King because, and I think Kanye felt bad for King too. That's why he kind of took King under his wing.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Kim Porter's the mom.
Mm-hmm.
And what is that? What is her deal with this? Like, wasn't there like weird theories with Kim Porter and Diddy?
Kim Porter died of pneumonia. The day that she died, Corey Gamble was photographed outside her house, just like doing some admin work. And
Corey Gamble's the
Kris Jenner's boyfriend.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
Sorry, go ahead.
So what are they saying? Is that like weird then? Are they saying this is a conspiracy theory?
Is what a conspiracy
Corey
theory.
Gamble connected to Kim Porter?
Oh, yeah. People think Corey Gamble's a fad. Kanye calls him Kanye. No one thinks him and Kris Jenner are actually in a real relationship. Also, Kim Kardashian unfollowed Diddy 24 hours before the federal raid back in March. I was the only person to catch that. And my suspicion was that it could have only been two possible people that tipped her off, and it would have been Corey Gamble or Lou Taylor.
Or Hillary Clinton.
I don't think Hillary's involved in this one, if I'm being honest.
No, I'm not saying she's involved. I'm just saying she knows. You know, she gets Comey's text messages.
Diddy did a lot of vote or die in the early 2000s.
Yes,
so Hillary.
Yeah,
exactly.
I actually did a whole deep dive that I think I'm going to relink, where I discovered that the person funding Vote or Die is the CEO of Planned Parenthood.
Mm-hmm.
And
you should repost that. That's a good story.
Yeah, and I think I want to remind people of that Diddy's political affiliations flip-flop throughout the years. He actually spoke out against the Democrats and then kind of got a slap on the wrist and then was forced to apologize and then talk shit about Trump. And people don't know that or remember that, but I have all the videos on my computer. I think I'm going to put that up to remind people.
I would love to have a Vote or Die shirt. Where are those shirts at?
Because I think I started my article, Shane, with your quote. What was it about Vote or Die?
I forget. It was something about like not being surprised that the guy who said Vote or Die was being violent or something like that. I mean, it's a weird phrase to say to people.
You call them the Vote or Die rapper or something.
Yeah,
it is a crazy thing to say to someone. Yeah.
Vote or die. All right, where do you guys think this is going? Do you think he's gonna just walk? Is he going to jail? What are your predictions?
I know it's fun to predict and that's what people want, but I don't think the jury is. I think he'll get some time. I don't think he'll get hit on every single count, but I think a few of them will stick. He'll go for at least 10 to 15 years if I was going to guess.
Wow.
I would agree with that.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it's clear that, I mean, I do think, okay, maybe we can all talk about this. So this woman, Capricorn Clark, said that Diddy kidnapped her. She was his assistant, and she claims that he forced her to get in a car to go to Kid Cudi's house the day that Diddy wanted to break into Cudi's house. Is that a kidnapping, or is that your boss saying get in the fucking car?
I mean, these days it's the definition of everything is so vague.
That's what I feel like is going to be. That's what it's going to come down to. I think that's what the defense is arguing.
Yeah,
is that like this person was told to get in the car. It's not like he put a body bag over her and like put her
at
like
gunpoint.
the way they're describing it, and then when you actually hear the story, it's never as bad.
Right.
But she's expected to take the stand this week, so we might hear a crazier story from her.
Interesting.
Wow, I got that story wrong. I thought that they had her take Diddy to Alex Fine's house. They had her take him to Kid Cudi's house.
She was in the car in Kid Cudi's driveway while Diddy was inside, locking Cudi's dog up in the bathroom and opening up the Christmas presents that were left on the counter.
I don't know why whenever I hear Capricorn, I like suddenly have no clue what's going on. So we've heard her a few times.
It's a crazy first name.
It's a crazy first name.
Yeah, and I don't know how, I haven't even looked up if she's a Capricorn or not yet.
Yeah, we should know these things.
I think like overall, I think we're going to see people's interest fizzle out on this trial.
Yeah.
Right? Is this?
I don't know. I think it'll be like this. I think that you and I understand now from last week that we need to be offering more content besides Diddy during the Diddy trial, which just seems unfair and fucking annoying. But like mainstream's posting about a million other things besides Diddy. So like are independent journalists supposed to learn the same tactics so that we can keep like our audience engaged? Like I think it's going to be boring and then get interesting and then boring and then interesting and then verdict day. And then a few months later will be sentencing day. Yeah.
Yeah, and it sucks that
like,
you
what's
guys.
crazy about like TMZ? Look, this is how TMZ operates. They have 4 people on at the courthouse. One is a note taker, so he's in the front row of overflow every day, taking notes perfectly. Then there's another guy in the courtroom taking notes of the body language and what's going on in the courtroom. Then they have people, photographer outside, and then a girl with a video that captures all of like, will ask people questions like the street content.
Right.
They will rush down and call Harvey before anyone else. And that's how TMZ gets the story out first, because they have this like really awesome operation. So then the note taker forwards the notes over to TMZ, and then their writers and editors put the content out. Or Brianna and I, we have to wait till we get home and go on our computer, and then it's dinner time, and then we're tired, and then that's why our stories aren't as fast as TMZ.
You need to pay those homeless people.
Yeah, pay them the right.
Yeah.
No, I mean, you guys have been actually doing videos, though.
That's why I'm doing videos now, because it's the only way I can get the content out first. I've been leaving the courtroom 20 minutes early to get my video out before anyone else, and it's helped me go viral. So that's my new strategies. I just do videos because that's the fastest way to beat TMZ.
Yeah, but like the other day was freezing cold, and my video was so bad because I was like,
it was freezing.
I didn't like spend the time sitting outside writing my script because I was like, I just want to get this done. And I just was like, bleh. And then my editing sucked because my fingers were freezing and I couldn't edit. And it's like, oh my God, it's not fair. But like things like that, we have to really figure out how to work around. And like, we always have this, as soon as we're out of court, there's like this internal clock we have, me and Emily. I think I can speak for both of us. It's like, get the content out, like make it really good, and then like go home and make more content, and then like maybe you should sleep. But it's like it doesn't stop.
But like you're up against this machine like a TMZ, which that's kind of awesome that they have this.
But we actually really aren't. We're kind of all working together.
Well, you guys are working. You guys, I know you guys are, but like the TMZ has this relay race of like handing the baton to this person, that person.
I would say TMZ is up against CNN, ABC, NBC. They're all competing, but I think the independent media, we have more leeway, and we can write about stuff that, like you said, we can deviate off script.
And I think people, like, even though your videos might not be perfect, or like it's cold and you're not scripting everything, people are seeing something more relatable, and you guys have more ethics than a lot of these people in the big buildings. So they're trying, like, I mean, TMZ to me is a caricature.
I would actually argue that so far I've seen mainstream reporters not get anything wrong.
Oh, that's good. Right. But TMZ? I don't think
them that doesn't have the ethics. I think it's their editors that are, and they're not standing outside. They are cozy somewhere.
Like, let's put the content of the articles away. Like, are TMZ's headlines inflating anything? Oh, I'm shocked.
I don't think so, but I do think that Harvey Levin is protecting Diddy a little bit because he has a podcast with Mark Garagos, and as you know, Garagos' daughter is Diddy's head of defense attorney.
Oh, that's interesting right there.
Yeah.
Are they open about that? Like, does he talk about that on TMZ ever?
But Mark's been getting in a lot of trouble because he's on the podcast talking about Diddy's case and with Harvey Levin of TMZ, and like they've been getting a lot of backlash for it, and they're saying Mark's interfering with the trial. Like
the judge gave Mark a warning that it's his responsibility and duty to not turn it into a circus, because he's had 6-pack of white women on the TMZ podcast, and the judge sent him a letter and was like, "You're not doing this the whole trial."
And I agree with that. Actually, though, I agree with Mark.
Wow.
Do I think that TMZ is exaggerating some of their headlines? Yeah, they're very clearly like. They're gonna miss the Diddy parties. Do I think other places are exaggerating the headlines? Not as much. I don't
even think TMZ is really exaggerating them.
I don't feel like they're okay. Maybe not exaggerating, but they definitely are showing some kind of like I don't know if it's favoritism or like friendship with Diddy, and like I was going through text messages on the archives because every day TMZ does like 4 to 5 stories on the trial plus a recap every day.
Mhm.
I was going through the archives and they always get like the evidence that we see in court that I just haven't had the capacity to find in the dockets or whatever. And there was like this text message that Cassie sent Diddy that was like, okay, I told Beyonce not to come. And like, I'm like, I didn't even catch that in court. And I'm like trying to write about it on Substack right now. And then like, I'm like, wait, but did TMZ catch that? Did like what
I didn't
happened?
catch that either.
I didn't catch that either. Like, did they decide not to say it out loud? But TMZ's like, oh, we have a million pictures from evidence that were never used. But and we have an extra body who can read through all this and like make sure you get the one thing with Beyonce. We'll leave the other million in the trash. And it's like I would love to have capacity to really fine tooth comb things like that.
Yeah, I agree. It's a lot of stuff to go through, and your
Also,
audience
the
wants
courtroom
it
is
quick.
giving special. They're giving certain press special treatment. TMZ is one of them. So is ABC News.
Yeah, and then like that's a story right there, right? Like why? You know, who are
I
they
don't know,
friends
but
with?
because they will always guarantee that TMZ gets a spot in that courtroom, even if they're not there early. That
Really?
there's at least
See, that's the stuff I hate. I
That's the
hate that
stuff
stuff.
Brianna hates. That's why she made the sign.
Yeah.
And I tried. Do you think that is like, do you think that like Gregaros is like put them in his family and like just have them sit with the media?
That's a good theory.
Because you can be on the family list and then just like not sit with the family.
Yeah, that's a problem. If there's media getting any favoritism.
The other day they came down and they plucked out certain media they wanted back in the courtroom. Like after lunch, they did this thing where you could wait in lunch, so then you had at least had a chance to get into the courtroom in the afternoon. So I was like, well, I figured out a great strategy. I can sleep in, I'll miss the morning, and then I'll wait in line for lunch, then I can be in the courtroom afternoon. So for a few days it worked. And then the other day they changed it, and the guy that runs the courtroom came down and specifically plucked TMZ, ABC, and NBC, and were like, they were at the back of the line. So all these people that were waiting at the front, like Us Weekly, USA Today, they didn't get in. But then this guy like handpicked these other outlets. Like ABC's always in there.
Yeah, and like for those watching, like it's really difficult typically to be a writer in a courtroom when you're not associated with a big name, right? Like
that's why we don't even use a press pass, because we have better luck getting into with the public.
Yeah, because like New York in particular, it's 6 months to a year sometimes to get that. And so something happens, like when I was writing about the serial killer from Long Island, he's just arrested all of a sudden. I have to wait 6 months to a year to go into the courtroom, but I went just as myself. Because I couldn't wait.
You just got to go as public. And that's what all the big YouTubers are doing. They're all the YouTubers with like millions of views, they're sitting in the public line.
I think they're going to stop that at some point.
How?
I don't know. I think they're not going to like it. At some point, I have a bad feeling that they're going to try to stop it and make you be credentialed to be in a courtroom. I don't know how, because it's unlawful.
Because right now they're letting homeless people, literally.
The one good thing about Trump is that he would hopefully prefer that the press doesn't have credentials to go in, and maybe that'll make the one crazy good thing about him.
I hope so. I mean, there's stuff about him that I'm like stoked on, but like if he can help with the press, because he called out fake press. I agree, fake press, and but it's had some weird things with like trying to be press in certain areas, especially in the political world. Like it's so off-putting to even say, like, I hate saying I'm a journalist. I hate saying I'm a writer, but like I agree, because 99% of journalists are trash. So it's like he's right about that stuff. But I'm curious how it's going to affect the courtroom.
Mainstream media called me a journalist, a Hollywood Reporter and the Wall Street Journal.
So nice of them.
That's crazy.
That's not normal that they would do that. Normally they would say self-proclaimed or self-described blogger.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
True.
Or gossip girl. They both reporters, Hollywood Reporter even called me and said, excellent reporting regarding my protester expose, and they referenced it. He said that was excellent reporting. I was like, I was taken back by it. I've been hearing for years from, former employer that the mainstream media just hates us so much. But my experience, it's been very different. They're really admiring my hustle and treating me with respect.
I think it's a generational thing. I think a lot of them do hate us, and I hate a lot of them. But
well,
like,
this guy was our age, so.
but there's a newer group that are in those
Yes.
institutions that they can't deny the power that independent media can have. And I've talked to these people too, where like they're stoked on the idea like that you could do that. And maybe if they lose their job, they could go do that. Cause like there's this thing now, like Substack, and
They all keep asking, so do
Yeah.
you like Substack?
Mhm. Oh, they want it. And it's there. It's awesome that that's there, you know. But there's people who want to go that traditional route. I went that traditional route for a long time, but like to me, it was getting tiring and disgusting having to appease editors and seeing my story go through 3 different editors, and like what Brianna was saying. And by the time it's published, you know, the system of editors has made it something that's so alien to what I wrote initially. It was like, why did I even write this thing? You know, I hated that stuff.
See, Brianna was thinking she might want to, right? Brianna, you want to talk about that? How you might want to work for a newsroom?
Yeah, I mean, because to your point, Shane, like it is disgusting to be a journalist mainstream, but it's disgusting to be a journalist in general because the effing content we have to process, think about, and create into something tangible for our audience.
Yep.
And I'm ready to stop the hustle, like as far as being an independent journalist goes. I mean, chasing the views, asking for paid subscribers, it's like becoming humiliating and annoying. And I want healthcare, and I want a job, and I want a team.
Yep.
I just want, and maybe the grass is always greener, right? Like who's to say that what I want is really what will be best? But I just the independent thing's been almost 5 years now. And I started independent journalism. I was with a company that hired me to do the social media for a HBO documentary. And then after the documentary, they asked me to be the face of the social media for their page. Then they said, actually, we don't want a white girl as like the face of the news on our social media. So I just was like, what the hell? And I just started covering my own stuff independently. But now I'm like, okay, I've done the thing, I've proven the thing, and I'm like ready to like have more of a rhythm and like less of a one-man band to do a million things.
I totally understand that, you know, and one of the things I think could be good, a positive with the news dying, the mainstream news really taking a hit, especially because the Trump administration used the independent media podcast world to get into the second administration. Like the Biden, Kamala hardly used that world because Trump used the independent writers podcast to speak directly to the people and have long form conversations. So the mainstream media took a big hit. They've been taking hits for years, but the positive could be that maybe those places are going to learn their lesson. I don't know if they are, but like something like Wall Street Journal has, like Bezos owns Wall Street Journal. I think that's right. And he announced that their op-ed section is going to showcase more diverse voices. I'm going to put that in quotes. I hate that word.
They did.
But you know what I mean? Like politically diverse voices. That's a good thing, you know, and hopefully they really do, because hopefully it's not just like we're going to have our Fox 5 type voices. Like Fox 5 and me, I consider myself conservative. Fox doesn't relate to me at all. I don't watch Fox. It means nothing to me. I don't believe it's actually conservative. They're more like neocon. There's some good people on there, but like I don't have any relation to that. So hopefully what he means is like we'll have actual diverse voices across the whole political spectrum. And, you know, that could be a good thing. And maybe there are newsrooms making that shift that will be like we can have actual voices come back because they shuffled off into oblivion, trying to appease all their ideologies. So where like everything's so narrow, where they pretended to be diverse, they'd have all these different looking people, but they all said the same thing. So it wasn't really diverse. It was just a bunch of people sharing the same thing in the Wall Street Journal, in the New York Times. That's why Barry Weiss left the Times, you know? And like, I don't even agree with Barry on a lot of stuff, but I appreciate what she's done with the free press, because Brianna, like created that kind of newsroom situation, not like an independent thing where we're all doing this like circus act. It's like she's got a newsroom, you know, and it's cool like to watch her build that. But you know, the free press has its own flaws that I don't agree with. So you're always going to run up against.
I don't think I don't think I'll ever want to have a boss ever again. I think me breaking free from my old job is the best thing that's ever happened to me, and I'm thriving being on my own. I think I'm every single like personality type, aura test, numerology all says I'm independent.
Yeah.
I can't have a boss. I can't be managed. Like I don't I discover things like on my own, and anytime I have someone above me, it ruins my stories. And I think Shane, you're that same way.
Me? No way.
Yeah,
I'm very.
You hate
amenable.
editors, don't you?
I hate most things.
You
Editors.
hate
I
when
mean,
your stories get changed.
I love editors like Chris Carr, who
My
Alex over
husband.
here knows. That's actually Alex's husband. Like, because there are editors
I
who
like
can
good
actually
editors.
edit. You know,
Yeah, I
and
like good editors.
enhance your story. Say, hey, you could do this. There's other editors, which is most of them that I've dealt with from the Atlantic or Vice or BBC, you name it, that are like, we need to now mutate this entire story to fit it into this narrative that our entire apparatus is trying to sell. And I hate that. And unfortunately, that's a lot of them.
I just don't like rules, and I don't like playing by the rules, and I like the freedom I get. I just love freedom. I love the freedom I get.
I agree.
Like tomorrow, I can post a video about something completely different. Like, and there's no one that I have. It's really the thing that does suck about independent is that your audience is kind of your boss.
Yeah. And you should be held accountable, you know, but like you really are the one should dictate it. But like, yeah, I would advise you to not get captured by them. You know, that's something that does happen.
Because then you're their slave.
Right. And then you feel like you have to appease them. Like you feel like
I
you
told
have to
them the
appease
other day,
algorithm.
just so you guys know, I want to make a few things very clear. I'm not your slave, because people were someone got mad at me for taking a 30-minute break. And I go, who the fuck are you?
Oh, yeah. Oh, we saw the rants, Emily. We saw the rants.
Well, that was crazy. And
No,
ever since
you were
that
right,
rant,
though.
I've thrived.
You were right. But like, to Brianna's point, and to this whole idea is like, having been in independent media and met a lot of these different newsrooms or independent newsrooms, seeing independent places that we've all, you know, written for or worked for or met, they all have a lot of the similar flaws that the corporate press has. That's why I left them. It's just human nature. You know, you're going to run into all these issues with people. So you have to decide what's going to be best for you, because there's so many positives to being in a newsroom with a team, but hopefully they support your actual independent, you know, perception, the way you see the world, and not have to like morph to whatever they want you to be, you know. But then on the totally independent side, like what we're saying, there's all the negative aspects of, yeah, you're on your own and it's great, but you are doing a lot. You're doing the work of like 20 people at once.
Yeah.
So, but you guys are doing a great job. I mean, I think
look at Diddy's employees. They literally had no say at anything at all. Their whole life, they were the real slaves.
Yeah, right. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Well, this was a fun one. You guys, I appreciate you guys coming on. Please let everyone know where they can find you. Brianna, we'll start with you. Where tell them about your Substack, online, all that good stuff.
I'm on Instagram. Sometimes I'm on TikTok, but not really. Instagram and Substack at Jaggyish. How do you do it in
That's right.
Jaggyish.
Nice.
Jaggyish is my handle.
Nice.
Yeah.
And wait, did you say your Substack? Did I miss that?
Jaggyish.substack.com.
Cool.
And then if you find my Instagram, the link is there for my Substack.
Sick. Emily.
Emily knows everything. Emilie knows everything on Instagram, TikTok, and on Substack.
Awesome. Well, it's a pleasure, guys, and we'll have to do it again. Yeah, thank you guys for coming on.
Thanks, Shane.
All right, I'll talk to y'all soon.
Good luck out there.
Later. Crazy. I'm gonna be a line sitter.
Yeah, right.
That might be a nice little side gig.
I don't think you would enjoy that.
You don't think so?
No.
You sit up at night. You can people watch, get some work done, get paid. What did they say? She said $31 an hour. That's not bad.
Yeah.
That's not bad. I'm gonna look it up.
Okay.
See what's up with line sitting. I'll just travel. You can travel around. Like, say you take the family on vacation, and be like, you know, I feel like making an extra few bucks.
Then you can't enjoy vacation.
That's at night. Everyone's sleeping.
And what are you gonna do during the day?
I'll be fine. I don't sleep now.
That's crazy.
I have a 10-month-old.
Chris Carr did say he's watching you though.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, he said
In a threatening way?
Yeah.
I'm watching you.
No, it's amazing what they do. It's just I couldn't do that, man.
Look, I think I don't care about my biases being confirmed so much as I care about this is an important story.
Mm-hmm.
Just because, you know, it's like OJ.
Yeah.
These are important cultural like landmarks. Whether you're going to get all the satanic stuff that I think is happening,
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to get in the courtroom. So I do think the courtrooms are controlled to some degree. Like what they were saying with the newsroom or the courtroom having some sort of relationship with some like favoritism towards some media. That's not good. Not good at all. But it's interesting, everything about it. Like, I like that if you watch them on Instagram, they're showing you the outside, which is legit a circus. It's weird stuff. That schizophrenic guy, I hope he shows back up. He's like in season 2, in Emily's Instagram story. He's back.
They need to use him more, I guess.
It says a lot. It's a weird place. Wait, do we have callers?
Yeah, we have callers tonight.
All right, let's get into that.
Okay, our first caller is Lyle. Lyle, are you with us? Lyle, you are muted.
Lyle.
Hey, I'm here.
What's up? How are you?
I'm here.
Can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
We can. Can you hear us?
We can just do this all day.
Yes, I can hear you.
Awesome. Well,
How's everyone doing tonight?
We are good. Thank you for joining us. Please let us know what in this world you have seen.
I've seen lots of things. I've seen flowers. I've seen birds. I've seen bees. But I was hoping we could talk about Kurt Vonnegut and his brother.
Oh yeah, I love this. This is an interesting story for those who are interested in fake clouds. This will be good. So take it away.
Well, I know you have a bit of connection with Kurt Vonnegut because I think you met his widow at some point in New York. But for those who don't know, Kurt Vonnegut's brother is the guy who invented cloud seeding, which is Shane Cashman's favorite topic.
Legit. It's so true. So can you talk to us about like what that is, like, or how'd you come across this?
I heard the name Vonnegut when I was looking into cloud seeding and whatnot, and I thought it was a little strange because that's not very. It's not John Smith now, is it? And so I looked into it and found out there was the relation. But years ago, I had read the book Cat's Cradle by Kurt Vonnegut, and I was like, wait a minute, that's kind of strange because that whole book's about turning mud into solid. Mm-hmm. Solid sort of substance. So it's all kind of this geoengineering thing, which I thought was kind of interesting. And so that in that book they developed something called Ice 9. His brother developed, I believe it was silver iodine that they would put into the clouds. I'm guessing it was some sort of Cessna-like plane. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the more I looked into it, the more I realized it was just Kurt basically telling the story of his brothers with plausible deniability.
Yeah, and I forget what the company was, but Kurt worked there for a little bit. I believe his brother got him a job at that same company for a bit. And I want to say he actually started writing some of his books on receipt paper or some kind of like worker paper at that company. But yeah, he was one of the few people who literally helped invent cloud seeding. Kurt Vonnegut's brother helped make fake clouds. Legit.
It's just showing General Electric.
General Electric. Thank you. What was that?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Oh, I said General Electric.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, General Electric. So it's such a weird, I don't know. I hate the word coincidences. I really don't believe in them. But there's something odd there. And it's like, it makes perfect sense though, in retrospect. I didn't know that until a few years ago. I was watching a Vonnegut documentary, and it just briefly went over this idea of his brother creating the seeding clouds technology. I was like, wait a minute, what? And by that time, I was like all into fake clouds. But yeah, when I met his widow in New York City years ago on Christmas, it was like Christmas Eve. I did not know about fake clouds yet. I did not think about it deeply then. But in retrospect, it all makes perfect sense. And I got to see. I'm a big Vonnegut fan. I got to see his house. I got to see the typewriter. I sat at his desk. Got to sit at his typewriter. And his wife, his widow, was like famous for taking lots of author photos. So all those big authors from like the 60s to like the 90s, early 2000s, she did all their profile pictures. And she also was a photographer at Vietnam during the war. So she's got her own crazy story. But yeah. It's pretty wild stuff. I appreciate you bringing that.
Oh, come on. Don't be coy. We know she told you something.
She was kind of like I don't want to say a mean lady, but she's a tough lady, a very tough lady. But I like that about her. She, she didn't tell me at first who she was. It was, she walked up to me on the train as we're getting into Grand Central. I was reading a book by Saul Bellow, and she was like, we were talking about crazy people earlier in the show. And when she walked up to me on the train, I thought this was another crazy person in New York City. And she told me she knew Saul Bellow. I'm like, okay, yeah. Everyone in New York City knows Saul Bellow. And we had a nice little chat. And then she told me at the end that she was Kurt Vonnegut's widow. And I still didn't really believe it. But part of me was just like, you know what? It sounded true. She walked away after giving me her information. And I looked it up and I'm like, yeah, sure enough, that is his widow. And the sad part was, when you walk into his house that she still lives in, you're met by the giant staircase that he fell down. That eventually is what took his life from that fall. So it's like really
she pushed
sad.
him.
You know what? No, that's not a theory out there. I was gonna make a joke, but I didn't want to make a joke about it because I do love Vonnegut's writing so much. But it's cool. Like I got to see he would like make weird inventions as he would, as you might imagine Vonnegut would. And she was showing me all these weird things he would make, like this old man just tinkering in his house. So it was awesome. It was very cool to see that, and then to just see all these other things from different writers that I liked. But yeah. I appreciate you hitting us up with the cloud seeding connection. I always forget how weird that is that his brother did that. That's the whole thing. Maybe we should go down one day, do like a real deep dive into his brother, and what he did to this guy.
My theory is they just use science fiction to disclose this stuff to the general public.
I think you're right, dude. I really do. And then, like you were saying with Cat's Cradle, it's kind of like that. It's like soft disclosure, predictive programming sort of stuff. They do it all the time.
You might say it's the same but inverted.
Ooh, mic drop. Mic drop. I like it. But they do that all the time. There's a ton of 80s movies. I've been rewatching a lot of great 80s sci-fi movies the past few weeks. And they're just telling us things in those movies that they were certainly working on behind closed doors that we know about now. So there's someone who's working on these movies or someone writing the script who has some source, some consultant, we'll say, who I think is, being like, you should maybe say something about this or that because they have insight into the things they're making. It happens all the time. That's why I've been saying Terminator is completely prophecy. RoboCop is prophecy. All the bad guys in those movies are all the people in Silicon Valley today. That's why I don't trust them. But that's my.
You forgot Ghostbusters 2.
Ghostbusters 2 is completely prophecy. Yeah, we're in Ghostbusters 2.
Yeah, just turning hate into power to make bad things happen.
Right. Yeah. That's it. We're there. We're there. That's a great movie, but the newest Ghostbusters actually wasn't so bad. Did you see that one? With the kids?
I saw no.
Oh, it was all right.
I saw the one with the ladies.
Oh, yeah, I did not.
Terrible.
I did not.
There was only 2 Ghostbusters movies.
The first,
that's fair.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's
fair enough.
That is, sir. That is fair. Well, did you have anything else to add before we move on, sir?
Just one last thing. Read Cat's Cradle. It's a great book. And they save themselves by putting themselves in an oubliette, which is a prison that you can only see the sky. So just keeping with the clouds today.
Oh, great point. Awesome. That's great. Well, thank you very much. Have a good night.
Good night.
That's awesome.
It's funny. Chris and I, at one point, we had an opportunity to try and work on a script for Cat's Cradle.
Really?
For like a movie script.
Oh, wow.
And it was absolutely impossible.
That's the beauty of some novels.
It was impossible.
They can only be a novel.
Yeah.
And it's really tough to make it a movie.
Yeah.
That one in particular. Like some of Vonnegut's movies were made, or some of Vonnegut's books were made into movies, and I don't think any of those
did well.
Were any worth watching. I wonder if Chris is listening and he has a different opinion. But I can't think of anything that was worthwhile as an adaptation from a Vonnegut book. And if they were, no, I can't think of any. But Cat's Cradle is great book. Slaughterhouse-Five is also amazing.
Yeah,
I recommend reading Cat's Cradle and Slaughterhouse-Five.
Yeah, not watching them.
And then, no, did I say watch?
No.
Yeah, reading them. And also he has like a bunch of essays he put out. And there's one beautiful one I think about a lot because I've been thinking about all this technology and where it's going. He has this little short essay about the beauty of going to the post office I think it's actually the beauty of buying an envelope to then mail something out. It's a great short story. We have another caller?
Yeah, we do. Sorry, I'm also reading the screen.
Oh yeah, it's all good.
Yes, we have Austin with us. Austin, are you in the room with us?
Hello.
You're muted, Austin. Oh wait, no, sorry. Austin, are you with us?
I'm here.
Hey, sir, how are you? Thank you for joining us.
Hey Shane, how's it going?
It's going, man. It's going. It's a good night. Good night so far. So walk us through this story of yours, please.
Yeah. If you don't mind, give you a little background,
Let's
and
do
then
it.
maybe give you my first event I had with divine intervention,
Yes.
poltergeist activity, and then maybe get to the main topic real quick,
Let's
which
do it.
was the shadow entity that I captured while working at a hospital. If you don't mind, real quick. So a little bit about myself was I grew up raised by a very spiritual woman. She was a former nun. She had left the church and she fell in love with a man, and she knew the Bible front to back. She knew all the scriptures. She knew every verse front and center, but she also kind of dabbled in tarot cards and spiritualism and crystals and things like that. And she was very interested in a lot of the other realm that we live in as well. And so, being raised by her, she kind of instilled a gift in me to just be aware of our surroundings and our situations. And I kind of view her as a guardian angel still watching over me that has given me the ability to sense certain things and has experienced certain things. So I lived with her for a good chunk of my youth, and while my mother kind of got her act together, long story short, and eventually I returned to live with my mother, and my mother kind of being under the wing of this woman, her name was Mary, also dabbled in tarot cards and spiritualism and the mysticism of all kinds of other things, as well as being, a Bible reader and stuff like that. But my mother, she one day had went to a local flea market and she had met some people that dabbled in voodoo and stuff like that, dabbled in black magic. And she had brought this candle. She had told the people, I'm very interested in becoming more powerful. I need more money. I want to, become more wise. And they told her, take this candle, burn it in front of mirrors, take these incense with you, do this chant and this seance, and the things that you want will come to you. And I'm very young at this time. I'm still learning to live with my mother again at this time, and my aunt is with me. She kind of comes and goes, lives with my mom as well, and she's there this day that they are going to do this chant and the seance and pray over this candle in front of the mirrors. Well, they do this, and they're kind of laying me down for bed one night, and they're just put me to bed. I just took a bath, and they put all the toys in the bathroom sink, and after they had kind of done this prayer and chant in the other room, they come to lay me back in bed, and they go downstairs, and all of a sudden all the toys in the bathroom sink, they're drying out, they fly out all across the bathroom. They go splashing all across the floor, all across the bathroom, and my mom downstairs yells at me, what are you doing up there, Austin? What's going on? And I say, I don't know what's going on. I have no clue. I have no clue what's going on. So they come upstairs, pick up the toys, put them back in, lay me back down to bed. Couple minutes go by, and all of a sudden my door kind of creaks open, and I feel kind of footsteps walking on me. It feels like something was kind of walking on my bed, and I jump up out of bed and I say, "Mom, something is up here. Something's up here." And at this time, the house starts heating up. It starts getting real hot upstairs, and this kind of burning hair sulfur smell kind of becomes kind of real prevalent in the bathroom. And I'm like, "Mom, there is something up here." And she's like, "Okay, come downstairs. Me and your aunt, we're going to come upstairs." So I come down the stairs, and I'm not kidding you, Shane. This is what I call divine intervention, divine interaction, whatever you want to call it. It countered the poltergeist activity going on. So as I'm coming down the stairs, they're kind of going up the stairs, and I come down to the bottom of the stairs, and I turn, and there's probably a 7-foot tall, and I'm pretty sure it's the angel Gabriel. He's standing there, and he has a staff in his left hand, and behind him is pure white light, just pure holy protection. Nothing there, and no words are said. And I come around the corner, I walk to the bottom of the stairs, and he just holds his right hand out about waist high, and he just kind of makes a gesture towards the couch. just telling me to just sit here right beside him. And he's just standing there, pure white light energy. And so they're upstairs and they're like, okay, something's going on up here. It's about 110 degrees upstairs. It smells like sulfur. We just did this seance. There's toys flying around the bathroom. Something's going on here. And they come back downstairs and they're like, are you all right, Austin? I'm like, yeah, there's a man that was standing here and there's nothing that can hurt me. Nothing will harm me. And their mouths just drop to the floor. They're like, what did you say? And I'm like, yeah, there was a man standing here who had a staff. He was tall, covered in white, and he basically told me to sit here and told me I'd be fine. So their mouths drop to the floor. Long story short, they call my godly grandmother, Mary, and they come over and they bless the house and they start burning sage and they pour salt around the doorways and they do things in the bathroom. They're pouring salt in the toilet and flushing it, doing all these prayers. And, you know, my grandmother's ripping into my mom at the time and can't believe she did that. And I think I went to stay with my grandmother at the time. So, you know, when you have something like that happen to you as a young child, you're basically set up for a life of weird instances and weird things. Just being aware, especially when you've been blessed by other people.
Did you know at that age that it was the angel Gabriel, or is that something you, in retrospect, knew?
In retrospect, I just kind of have done my own research. I've looked into it. And, you know, I told him it was a man like Jesus, and I'm just thinking to provide me that protection, to make me know that I was safe, that there was nothing that could harm me, no matter what energy, demonic force it is, that it would be defeated on sight if it even came near me. My assumption would be that that was what it would be. I'm sure. It's an angel of some sort. I'm absolutely certain of that. So having gone through that as a child, I continue to live a life of just having weird instances. I've had premonitions and dreams that come true. I've met people in weird circumstances. I've kind of been a white light that almost sucks in weird occurrences, almost like a bug zapper that just pulls things in almost. It's been a blessing and a curse at the same time. You know, I've woken up with scratches and I've had just strange dreams and things like that. But fast forward all the way to why I reached out to you about the shadow entity that I've captured at the hospital. This is why I was not shocked to have had this happen to me. I kind of know what it is. I can feel the energies when I walk into these places, and I'll get into that now. And the best part is this video is on YouTube. Listeners, you can look this video up on YouTube real quick if you don't mind me shouting it out. If you want to look it up on YouTube as well yourself. There is a 14-year-old version. Because the long story short is I worked for a medical company, and we would go into hospitals and we would collect the equipment of shut down hospitals, places that would close, and we would go in, clean out the old building, take all that old equipment, we'd refurbish it, fix it, maybe resell it, whatever it might be. But I was in a lot of these abandoned hospitals. Real quick, the video is on YouTube. If you just type in these words, it's ghost caught on cell phone camera, and it's on my buddy Sam Van Meter's channel. That's the 14-year-old version. If you're gonna watch this, I will say it was captured on an old LG chocolate from way back in the day, and I'll get into the video.
Wait,
here
is
in
it,
a second.
Is it the black shadow entity caught on an old cell phone?
Little Italy.
Yep, and that's the new one. After 14 years and the video finally being sideways, I thought, wait, why don't I just screen record the video and flip it, or flip it vertically or the correct way, so people can absolutely view it the way it's meant to be seen.
Maybe we'll play it real quick and then we'll talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
Cool.
1 sec.
Sweet. So for those real quick, for those listening, we are in like a abandoned looking hallway in a hospital, I believe, right? Lights are off-ish, maybe light from just a camera. And, well, we'll see what's about to go down. There's one light on.
You can send me a
What?
So walk us through this video. I don't think I caught it.
Is that it back there?
Okay. Now
Oh.
it happens within. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah, you can pause it, and then it happens.
Okay.
Does it happen right in the beginning?
Oh my gosh! It's in the first 5 seconds
Yeah,
of the video.
okay.
I'll get into it
In the
here.
back, right?
Yeah, it's in the back.
It happens so fast.
Yes.
It's like lickety split.
Why?
It's unbelievable.
Why were you recording? Like, does it?
Now,
Does it happen
now,
a bunch?
pause it right there.
Yeah.
Pause it. Look at the end of the hallway there, at the very end of the hallway.
Yeah.
So what happened was I worked for this hospital company, and our boss would ask us to record videos of the hallways and the rooms that we've just emptied out and cleaned out. We would pull all the equipment to the end of a hallway or into the rooms, and he'd say, hey, just send me the videos, and then I can send that to the hospital and show them, you know, the cleaned out areas. So I would record these videos of just walking through the hospital. Now, this hospital is in Springfield, Ohio.
Okay.
It's now abandoned.
Okay.
I believe it's a field, basically, now, if I'm not incorrect. It was on a haunted registry list. A lot of the security guards would say that they would hear things at night, hear sounds and things like that. I got bad feelings when I walked into the building alone. But I am recording this video as soon as I walk in. If you watch towards the end of the hallway, that is where the operating room was. That was the surgery room. And there is nothing in the doorway when I first walk in. And I'm holding the phone up about right up to my face, just making sure I'm recording right. And I walk in, and there's nothing there, nothing there. And there's a door to my left, a room that we cleaned out. And I'm kind of preparing to look in that room because I'm going to turn real quick to my left. And this is the crazy part, because this is probably, when it appears, this is the only time in the video where I wasn't actively really looking through the camera.
I was just gonna ask. Yeah. So when it happened, you didn't register in person.
Are you sure it's not someone just was there?
Yeah, no one is there. I'm completely alone. Just me and a buddy. We work alone. We move on. If you pause it right there, it appears
and it kind of
in
walks
2
away.
seconds. I mean, we slowed this video down. We did it. It's nobody walking by. It's not my own shadow. It is a pure black apparition that appears at the end of the hallway, and that's where the surgery room was. And if you actually kind of go slow-mo and zoom in, the weird part is it kind of comes out of the ground like a T-1000, like it forms out of the ground backwards. So it's like it was walking backwards almost.
If you go to settings maybe and make it like half speed.
It's not really.
Yeah, I know it's tough.
Here's.
It's very tough because it does happen very quick into the video.
Yeah, because I didn't notice it at first, but then on the second play, I saw there's certainly something in the back. But like, I mean, you're so chill throughout it. But like you're saying, you were not looking where the phone was pointing.
Oh no! If I had saw that in real time, I would have chased that thing down like Zach Baggins style or something.
You would have. You would have gone after it. You would have gone after because of what you're saying. You went through as a kid. You had the confidence to go after that.
Absolutely. I have no doubt that it showed itself to me, that it knew the timing, that somehow I wasn't looking through the camera at that exact moment. If you actually kind of watch, there's a small glitch in the video too. It kind of jumps. I don't know if it kind of zapped a little bit of juice out of the phone to make itself appear at the end of the hallway. I mean, it appears so fast, and then it's gone by the time I return to the end of the hallway. When I come out of the room and look back down the hallway, there's nothing in the doorway down there.
This part of the video right here is where the shadow would have been, right?
So if you look straight down the hallway there in that doorway frame, there is a pure black apparition.
Yeah.
And then you walk into
It
that
just looks
room
like
afterwards.
Yeah, I continued down the hallway, having not seen anything, having not noticed anything.
What would you have done if you saw it in person and you go after it? Like, what would then be your goal?
Grab it.
I would, yeah, to have more proof than just a mere old video. This is why we're on the hunt, Shane. We want indisputable evidence. We want to find, there's no other way to answer the questions that we seek. And, I had recorded multiple other videos this same day in other locations of this hospital, and having gone through them, I saw nothing like this. And then this was one of the last videos I recorded. And as I'm watching it live, getting ready to delete it, my mouth just dropped again. I'm like, wow, there's a shadow entity that appears in the surgery room at the end of this hallway, and just unexplained. So I've just
crazy.
always had such a fascination, and listening to the podcast, and how much you're into everything and your love for the scripture and stuff lately, and it's just trying to find the answers. I had to get this out to you guys and hope we can get some more answers on it. I had to share it with you all.
Yeah. Well, now people know where to find it, and if anyone watching wants to watch it more closely and deconstruct it, definitely hit us up. I love that. It's a crazy video.
I could post it on our YouTube.
We'll post it on our YouTube too, and see what they say.
Absolutely.
It is interesting, empty.
Yeah, I have nothing
hospitals.
to hide. I have no reason to, fake anything. This is a 14-year-old video that's been on YouTube. I've never tried to seek anything. There's another version on my other buddy's channel that originally uploaded it way back in the day because he was like, "Oh my God, we gotta get this on YouTube." So
Empty
it's been
hospitals,
out there for
man.
a while now, and I'm just happy to share it with Inverted World Live.
Well, we appreciate it. Going through empty hospitals is creepy.
Going through regular hospitals.
Going through regular hospitals. But yeah, there's something like, I even feel that without the shadow figure in that video, just the hallway alone, that vibe. It's that's a weird, dark energy.
Well, if you get a chance, Shane, plug in some headphones, turn up the volume. You might hear me sing. I was singing a little song that was stuck in my head at the time, but right after I sing my words, you can hear some voices and some echoes and some weird things in the back of video, and then you might be able to do a little further examination yourself. But I believe there's some EVPs in the back of this video. I believe there's a shadow entity that appears within 2 seconds in a video. And I just encourage everyone to check it out. And, I don't think we're alone. And I think that's why we all listen and we can all feel it. That's why you say when you walk through a hospital, you can sense it, whatever it is, the residual energy, the memories left behind, the spirits that are still stuck in this building, trapped. So just God bless everyone out there. And I just wanted to share that and let you know that there is more. Trust your gut. There is more to life than we can see, for sure.
Well, thank you for that, man. I appreciate that. We really appreciate you calling in and sharing the video. And if anything else happens, you got to call back.
Absolutely. Will do. I'll be listening always.
Awesome, man. Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Good night.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Man.
It reminds me of this documentary that Chris made me watch, actually, called, now I'm not saying what he saw wasn't what he saw, but there's this documentary called Lake Mungo. I think that's how you say it.
Okay.
And it's about, it's kind of like Blair Witch. Not exactly, but the same style. It's about a family who loses a daughter. And then, they're getting, they're trying to heal, and the son gets a camera and is like back at the lake where she like had drowned, and he starts taking all these pictures and videos, and she shows up as a ghost in these pictures.
Interesting.
Documentary isn't real, but
what was it, Lake Mungo?
Lake Mungo.
Okay. Crazy. I mean, hospitals in general are super creepy. I've been in them. I've seen people die in hospitals that I've loved, and I've seen children born. There's a weird mix of like ultra joy and super doom in hospitals that I think that energy gets locked in those places.
For sure.
I saw it in that hallway. That's a creepy Without the shadow figure.
I don't know.
That's creepy. I don't like it. Well, that was a fun episode.
Oh, yeah.
I guess we should say real quick.
Go
all
for
the
it.
crazy stuff going on.
Yeah.
I mentioned it on Culture War, but we're going to start doing this show Monday through Thursday at 10 o'clock at night. So it'll be a nighttime show. And Alex is going to be with us as much as possible.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, not all the time. But we do have Brandon stepping in on, and Brandon was on our last episode, right? Was that our last episode?
Yeah, it was last week's episode.
So he's going to hold it down when Alex can't be here. And yeah, so would love to have more callers. If you got a story out there you want to share with us, you send it to me.
It's going to be more like we're going to share a link as we go live, and you can click on the link and we'll have you in a waiting room, and Brandon or myself will pull you in to the room. And, we don't know if we'll have an overwhelming amount of callers or an underwhelming amount of callers. We're going to try and take as many callers as we can.
Yep.
And it's going to be focused around your stories.
Yeah. We'll have your stories. I'll have some stuff pulled up we can talk about. On Monday nights when I typically do IRL, I will probably be running out of Tim's studio and running over here. So you'll be able to see me out of breath running from his spot to mine because we're close to each other. And then we'll go from there and see how it goes. It should be crazy. So we have the email shanecashman@scanner.com, but also you can hit me up on Twitter. That sometimes is easier. You can just Shane Cashman on Twitter, and I'll hit you up with that, and we'll get your all the things you need to know to call in. We're gonna probably use. Did we say Zoom?
Yeah, it looks like we'll be using Zoom.
Yeah.
Because right now we use Discord, but it looks like we'll be using Zoom going forward, and we won't be showing your face. It'll still be in the same vein of the show as we do now.
Yeah. So that's soon. Not this week, but
I believe next
after?
Monday.
Right. So pretty soon. It's gonna get crazy.
Yeah.
And it'll be like part of the Rumble, I guess, lineup that's going on. Will be the night show, which is pretty sweet.
Yep.
So we'll have more information on that pretty soon as it comes, and we'll see how it goes. Anything else? Did I miss anything?
No.
I was expecting some kind of poltergeist thing to happen.
I know we should get Tim to call in or come on or talk about it and let us know what's going on.
I have to convince him. He's got to share.
At least let him whisper it into your ear so you can.
Yeah. I'm going to start making stuff up, Tim. No. But yeah, hit me up if you guys want to start calling in. We love it. We got to have more time now for stories. So that's going to be sick because the callers tonight were awesome.
Yeah.
It was great.
So
I love
fun.
having people call in. It's so much fun. It's great. And and thank you to Emily and Brianna for calling in. That whole thing is crazy. I highly recommend you guys following them online if you're into this stuff because they don't just do the Diddy stuff. They both do really good reporting. They're both their own unique voices, and I love keeping up with what they do. It's great, and I love supporting independent writers because there's a lot of bad ones, but when you find some good ones, I like to support them when I can. So check that out, and we'll probably have them back as the Diddy case goes on. Maybe it is revealed that Blake Lively is a monster, and maybe it will be revealed that Chrissy Teigen does eat babies.
Maybe they just drink baby bloods.
Okay,
to stay
true.
Youthful.
That's good to let people know.
Yeah.
She might just drink baby blood.
Yeah.
That's also evil, but maybe she's not actually eating them.
Some women eat placenta after birth, so I mean
That's different. You're not I think Chrissy Teigen gets blood delivered to her door. I said I think, so she can't sue me.
Peter Thiel just brings it to her.
Amazing.
I'm gonna miss being on this show.
I know. Well, we're gonna hopefully get you on here enough, but the schedules are just crazy because it'll be nighttime.
Yeah,
and the families and all this stuff. So
yes,
we will hopefully you'll still be here.
Yeah,
as much
in spirit.
as possible. Yeah, in spirit. Yeah, you'll be the shadow creature at the end of the hallway. Well, where can they find you?
I am Alex Ayala on X.
Sometimes.
And
And we'll see you guys next week. Have a good one.